Hello and welcome back for your daily dose of LOL Esports content, where I'm going to cover the games that took place in the LPL, LCK, and LEC from today, as well as preview the pair of series that will take place tomorrow in the LPL. Predictions 119 and 59 on the year, 4 and 2 today. First, we had Ninja in Pajamas versus Ultra Prime, and Nip would win 2-1 in what was a LCK inspired series. Let's just put it that way. Very slow. Game three, I think kills might end at 5-5. Really a tough watch. So, rookie 5-6-10, 37% of damage was MVP. Joao 0-4-17 at support. Doggo 5-4-13, 26% of damage in the loss. Game one, blowout by Nip. At 15-15, they're ahead almost 3K gold. Aki all around the rift making things happen. Hacker playing catch up. Aki was on a Wukong, and I think Hacker was on the Maokai. 18 CS lead for Rookie in mid over Yukai. Let's see here. What else we got? Fodic on the Callista, strong. Got a lot of kills in the early game. Was the one that was getting fed due to Aki going bot side. And then Rookie on the Azir getting kills after Aki went mid and carrying in damage. Actually, I shouldn't even say getting kills. I mean, he had 4 kills. But dealt damage. Game 2, 15 minutes. Ultra Prime, gold lead of about 4.2k as the opposite happened. Hacker ahead of Aki. Aki struggling big time. 31 CS lead for Hacker. 11 CS lead for Decade on the Gnar. He had a fantastic outplay in the late game where Nip tried to get him in the bot lane and 3-man dove him, and he killed them all. So, I don't remember the last time we saw a 3v1 outplay solo kill deal like that, but Decade looked really good in that moment. Hacker on the Xin Zhao, like I said, very strong. Doggo on the Senna had a 2v2 kill. Fodic on the Lucian also had a 2v2 kill in this one, but it really didn't make a difference because as the game went along, I mean, that 4K gold lead at 15 minutes was gigantic, and it would just expand after that because they had both grub spawns. It went mid a couple times, so Yukai was no slouch. Game 3, a bit closer at 17 minutes, like I said, 5-5 kill score or something like that at the end. 2K gold lead for Nip, a 45 CS lead for Rookie over Yukai. But Yukai on the Akali was strong in the mid-game team fights to actually get that gold lead pretty much even. However, when push came to shove, Rookie on the LeBlanc dealing enough damage to push Ultra Prime back, and Ultra Prime unwilling to pull the trigger and actually stop Nip from ending the game as they just slowly choked them out in what was a true going out with a whimper performance in Game 3. After that, we have Anyone's Legend OMG. AL would win 2-1. Shanks MVP 14-17, 34% of damage. Cal 2-4-34 at support. Angel 4-5-13, 29% of damage in the loss. Game 1, OMG were ahead and dominant. Even though at 18-15 they only had a 600k gold, 600 gold lead, not 600k, Jesus Christ. Zhao Feng had a 33 CS lead over Krakow on the Xin Zhao. He was a menace. They could not put a stop to him. Abel on the Tristana had a big mid-game team fight that put it over the edge and would result in them winning the game. They took all 3 grub spawns for the 2 grub spawns and the Rift Herald. It was clear Anyone's Legend wanted to go topside to try and get Harry in a good position, but that didn't result in anything. Sure, you put Cube behind, but I mean, actually, the CS was Cube favored at the end of the laning phase when the first turret fell. 18 CS lead for Abel and PP God as well. Game 2, Anyone's Legend were up about 2.2k gold lead at 16 minutes. They were ahead in 3 of the 4 areas. 24 CS lead for Shanks over Angel. 16 for Harry over Cube. In terms of making things happen, Krakow very active on the Poppy. Both Drakes getting a couple grub spawns. Shanks on the Azir would get a solo kill in this one and was very strong. Excuse me. Especially in games 2 and 3. What else we have here? Zhao Feng on the Lee Sin. Very good performance. Deserves a lot of credit. Was one of OMG's better players today in the loss. Harry on the K-Sante in late game team fights. A big difference maker. Game 3, opposite. So OMG are ahead 2.5K gold at about 17:30. 41 CS lead for Zhao Feng over Krakow. So the kid's doing well. I think that he might be out of all the rookie junglers we have, he is looking the best right now. Cal on the Nami got a 2v2 kill when OMG tried to dive him. Abel on his Samira, and that would end up coming to fruition before the end of the game. He had a pop-off moment on the champion. But in the early game struggled, and that resulted in bot side prio, 2 Drakes, 2 Anyone's Legend, both Grub Spawns and Rift Herald as well. So even though they were down 2.5K gold at about 17:30, they were able to recover with getting turrets. Shanks on the, Karma? Might have been a Karma in game 3. A lot of damage. I'm trying to make out my notes here. Shanks was strong in the mid game, otherwise I wouldn't put his name down. And he did well, dealing a lot of damage. Angel, Twisted Fate. Making things happen. Trying to think back here. He brought so they have a lead, and it's in part because of Angel getting around the rift, making things happen. That's what I did wrong here. I swapped those 2 players on my board. Angel gets OMG ahead, helps them get ahead. That's why they have a 2.5K gold lead. Shanks brings them back in team fights. Abel on the Samira answers himself. I believe it was a quadra for him on the Samira. But Hope on the Lucian just ended up being so strong that they were picking off Abel at will. Abel might have had like 7 deaths in game 3 or something like that. Like it was very AL favorite in the bot side when the end game was transpiring. So back and forth game 3. Obviously doesn't help that I put my players out of order on here. Series 3, Thunder Talk Rare Adam. Rare Adam win 2-1. Assume 13, 10, 27, 28% of damage. Vikla 24 and 28 in mid lane. 1xn 14, 11, 26, 31% of damage in the loss. So game 1, not a big diffy at 19 minutes, 300 gold lead, so that might as well be non-existent. 23 CS lead for Zhaozhu over Hoya on the Darius. He had a solo kill in the laning phase. However, 22 CS lead for Beshwan over Nayu, and 31 CS lead for UCal over Vikla. Nayu on the Jax, although he was behind in CS, was making things happen and became like OP as hell. They couldn't stop him. Zhaozhu on the Darius strong. Beshwan and Xin Zhao did respond and bring Thunder Talk into a position where they could turn it around. UCal on the Orianna would pair with that Xin Zhao. We've seen it time and time again. We see it with the Rel as well. Xin Zhao Orianna, Rel Orianna in the mid jungle duo. A very strong combination, and they kind of 2v8'd in the end. Like Nayu was unstoppable until they finally were able to hook up Ori and Xin Zhao and finish that one off. Game 2, 13:30 end of laning phase. 1.5k gold lead for Rare Adam. 12 CS lead for Zhaozhu over Hoya. He would be ahead in all 3 games. 35 CS lead for Asum and Zora. They would actually have a 2v2 kill. Asum on the Callista. Much more active than Beshwan in game 2 in the case of Nayu, getting around the rift. UCal on the Orianna, once again, strong, had nice shockwaves. Vikla on the Akali, finding kills in the mid to late game. 1xn responds with the Senna. He was under the radar. Now, he led the team in damage with 31%, but it felt like he was always in the background. And that could have been in part because of the Senna, but it just felt like, yeah, he's raining down some damage, but he's not doing anything overly, I don't know, like outright, like there's no outplays, right? There's none of that. Zora on the Renata, there were a lot of kills in this one, and his Renata had a high KP, very high KP. Affected things with his ulti. Obviously, making players go berserk helps. And not dying helps. I think he had like 3 deaths in that game. Game 3, Rare Atom up about 2k gold at 1430. They're ahead in all 4 roles. 33 CS lead for the bot duo, 16 for Vikla, 14 for Xiaozhu. Nayu on the J4 making things happen as the mid-game transpired because the early game wasn't super crazy. 1xN on the Senna deals some damage. Hoya on the Kesante finds a good team fight. But it ended up being a back-and-forth affair that Rare Atom were able to eventually pull out. So Xiaozhu on the Aatrox, very strong in a key, you could say, start of late game team fight that was able to really keep the game close. Asum on the Varus leads in damage in a team fight that was massive around an objective. Vikla on the Orianna does as well. I think Xiaozhu may have even done it a second time. Like, these team fights, Rare Atom continued to just inch ahead of Thunder Talk in these team fights, getting damage. I think Hoya on the Kesante, that's what he might have done as well. This was a long game. It might have been a 51-minute game, if I recall correctly. Just an insane game 3 that, Vikla in the end made the difference on the Orianna in one of the last team fights. LCK, T1, Fear X. Keria ended up being my MVP. So that's because he picked Ezreal and Nico support. And I don't hide the fact that I think Keria is the best player in the world because he can literally play like anything. And I don't think you can say that about anybody else. At least we don't see it on stage, but we see it with Keria. So Zeus 15-4-9, 27% of damage. Owner 4-2-22. If there was going to be an MVP for more than just, stylistic in my bias, I won't lie, I'm going to pick Keria because of the champion pool, and I value that more than I probably should. But I would say Owner's setup was strong in this one as well. Zeus gets the kills, but Owner and Faker had a lot to do with the setup. Closer, 4-7-4, 32% of damage in the loss. So game 1, FearX actually have a lead at the end of laning phase, about 15 minutes, and it's all on Willer's Lee Sin. Willer played maybe his best series I've seen in a long time. Might have been his best series overall I've seen. Strong on the Lee Sin in both games, and in game 1, he was disgusting. Keria on the Ezreal hit a 2v2 kill before 3 minutes. Clear on the Kesante solo killed Zeus's Aatrox. And at the end of laning phase, the bot lane of T1 have a 27 CS lead, even though Willer had went down there twice. That's kind of a big deal, right? You went down there to try and put them behind, and in the end, they still had a 27 CS lead. But in the end, Zeus's Aatrox super strong in the late game team fights, dealing damage due to Owner and Faker setup. Game 2, a little different. T1 are up about 2k gold at 14-15, ahead in all 4 areas, 19 in bot lane. What do we got here? Henna on the Kalista, 2v2 kill. Gumayushi would return the favor on the Varus with 2v2 kills of his own. So the bot duo of T1 getting the better of Henna and Execute. Willer on the Lee Sin, strong mid-game team fight. He might have had a triple or a quadra in that one. Keria on the Nico, however, in those late-game team fights, found good flanks, found good ultis, and it honestly looked better than a lot of mid laners on Nico that we see, which is why I sing Keria's praises. Zeus on the Aatrox, a solo kill, and late-game team fight just was able to finish things off, and he was just disgusting. They couldn't stop him when the late game started really transpiring. Nongshim and Brion, kind of disappointed by this one. So Nongshim went 2-0. I thought Brion were going to win this. I said yesterday, I don't remember if I said in my main video or just my prediction video, but I was excited to see Brion's bot lane. I wanted to see them go against another rather inexperienced bot lane and see if they would be dominant, because they've been playing very well against some elite bot lanes. And in this one, they didn't show up. Samver and Palu didn't die a lot, but at the same time, they just didn't carry. Frankly, Samver just didn't really carry, and maybe that wasn't his job, but at the same time, I was expecting more, especially because Nongshim had just replaced their coach. So Call Me 10-4-13, 39% of damage in mid. Sylvie 7-0-14 in the jungle. Karis 4-6-3, 26% of damage in the loss for Bro. So, tough to really pick. I guess Call Me ends up being MVP because of all that damage, but individually I would say there's two other players that probably could get MVP. Game 1 at 16 minutes, Gold's essentially tied. 16 CS lead in mid for Call Me over Karis. Call Me on the way, able to really wreck some havoc into Karis' Tristana. Bro had one good mid-game play where Morgan on the Poppy was able to pick off Jiwoo. But other than that, Sylvie on the Viego was very strong. Second strongest Viego performance of the day. Call Me, though, on the way, dealing a lot of damage in that mid to late game, and they end up winning. Game 2, very different story. It's not tied at all. At 15:30, there's a 3.7k gold lead for Nongshim. Din Din on the Jack, solo kills Morgan twice. Call Me on the Talia, great setup, goes top lane, gets a couple kills, and he ends up on another level. It also helped that Sylvie went mid twice. There's an 18 CS lead for Gideon in Game 2, but he did nothing with it. And Nongshim end up winning that one with relative ease. LEC series, we have G2 Mad Lions Koi. G2 win 3-1. Hansama 24-9 and 44, 27% of damage. Broken Blade 15-5 and 36. Supa 21-23 and 28 with 28% of damage in the loss. So game 1, Mad Lions Koi come out like they have been playing 10 games the last 2 days, and G2 looked like a team that hadn't played for a while. As Mad Lions would win, they had about a 2.5k gold lead at 14:30, 15 CS lead in mid, 17 CS lead in bot lane, and they were really strong. Honestly, Supa on the Virus today did exceptional each time he played it in the early game, laning phase. But in the end, G2 find a way, right? So he gets a 2v2 kill. Frescowi on the Orianna, all over the place, alongside Elyoya on the Zac. Like, they were just... G2 just really didn't have anything for Mad in Game 1. It was quite lopsided. Mickey on the Nautilus had some nice hooks. Caps on the TF was able to, I think, tie up kills 7-7. But it just didn't stop. The Zac was everywhere. The Ori was everywhere. Mirwin on the Yasuo actually might have had a quadra kill in a late game team fight to seal the deal. And I will say Mirwin probably too many games. There are a lot of games this 3-game stretch for all of them. They end up playing 14 games in 3 days. So I'm not shocked that in the end they end up fried, and we'll get to that. I think a lot of people are viewing them as if they hadn't played all these games and are obviously going to be fried, for the lack of a better term. So, Game 1, Mad Lions smoked G2. Game 2, G2 responded. 14 minutes or so, they had a 3.5k gold lead. Hansama on the Varus, a 2v2 kill. Broken Blade on the Kesante, a couple solos. Caps on the LeBlanc, going over walls, getting kills, things of that nature. Mad Lions really just hard losing Game 2. Game 3, a lot closer. So Mad Lions are actually up 700 gold at 13 minutes or so. 25 CS lead for BB over Mirwin on the Kennen into Rumble. So BB's MVP not only in the LEC, but for me as well. A couple solo kills, like I said. Actually 3, not 2 in Game 2. What was ahead on the Kennen in Game 3, and then strong on the Gragas in Game 4. No, actually, he's not my MVP. Mistake. That was a mistake. So, Elyoya, 36 CS lead in Game 3 on the Belveth. 17 CS lead for the bot lane of G2. Elyoya on the Belveth, strong in the early game. That is an early game champion. That's going to happen. That's why I had a 36 CS lead over Yike. However, Yike would respond on the Viego, and it felt like he was 1v9ing, but really, when you think about it, BB was raining down quite a bit of damage on the Kennen. And Caps on the Azir had some questionable plays, honestly. The one that kind of brought them back in Game 3 and really started the snowball for them when he TP'd into mid lane behind Mad Lions and Frescali had the Talia wall. It kind of felt like, if Mad had just played that better, they win that fight. It was like, did they mistime the fact that that wall was going to come up or not? I thought that was definitely a questionable call, but Yike was not going to be denied on the Viego in this one. It just simply wasn't going to be the case. And as a result, they win. Game 4, laning phase, 14 minutes. It's tied, roughly 14 minutes. 37 CS lead for BB over Mirwin. 24 CS lead for Caps over Frescali. However, Mad Lions Koi over 30 CS lead in bot lane. Supa on the Varus. Strong. But that didn't make a difference because Yike on the Lilia, once again, Yike was not going to be denied. Now, it didn't really look like a great Lilia spot, but he made it work. Caps on the Azir, solo kill, nice shuffles. Caps, as this series went along, like I said, that desperate play in Game 3 I felt was a little questionable, but at the same time, the TF brought them back in Game 1. Game 2 on the LeBlanc, strong. Game 3, trying to make things happen on the Azir, and in Game 4, made things happen on the Azir, so he deserves a lot of credit. But Yike had a Penta on Lilia in Game 4, and if you know my rules, Penta means automatic MVP. So he ended up closing that one out. So G2 win, Mad Lions Koi end up finishing second. We'll see if Mad can return to this form. Next split, I imagine with their various, champion pools, they should be solid. That sort of flexibility is hard to find. That sort of flexibility is hard to prepare for, which is why I think that a team like that is fine to go to an international event. It's not necessarily the hands diff thing, because that's just not going to happen from Western teams. It is the possibility of the element of surprise. We see it out of minor region teams all the time at international events, or at least used to. So we'll see what Mad can do in their second split. It was a good one, good run. Mirwin, Alvaro. I mean, Mirwin struggled in the last 2 games on the Rumble, and the Jace, really struggled. He ended up dishing out DPM, but he died a lot. And you'd prefer he didn't do that, obviously. And at the same time, like I've already said, 14 games in 3 days is a lot for a, they're trying to say young team, but really it's not that young. It's just a lot of games. It's a lot of games. I say it about this format. I don't love it because it has 3 best of 5s back to back to back, but it does make it a little more fair for that team that did win winner's bracket, that they're in finals and they're not going to be mentally fatigued. Whereas you could argue Mad Lions Koi, they were fried when this series was coming to an end. LPL preview for tomorrow. LGD, JDG. LGD 2-3, lost to Team World Elite. JDG 3-0, beat LNG. Last time they played, JDG would win 2-1. 6 of the 10 starters are the same. Kanavi and Missing went 11, 11, and 41 with 27% of damage in the win. Meteor and Jin Zhao, 14, 16, 21, 31% of damage in the loss. Team World Elite and EDG. Team Wii, 3-2. Coming off of a win against LGD, EDG 0-5, coming off of a loss to FPX. Last time they played, EDG would win 3-1 in playoffs. 3 of the 10 starters are the same. Something to note, Prince is not starting for Team Wii tomorrow. Stay is starting. Stay played 16 games for Team Wii in 2022. So he still is a rookie. JJ went 4, 5, and 42 with 10% of damage in that win. Hung 4, 13, 24, 11% of damage and loss. So 2 facilitators. We'll see how that one goes. EDG are a mess. So they are a disaster. So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube supporter. And hope to see you again tomorrow.